Hello and welcome to episode 37 of the Aravaipa Trail Talk. I'm Jam.
I'm Jubes.
She's gonna laugh now.
Sure.
Told you. This week, we're going to touch on being prepared and how to deal with unexpected circumstances out on the trails.
Sweet.
Because I just did this, and maybe you also experienced this recently, because I know you've been doing some epic stuff.
Yeah.
Cactus to clouds.
Yeah.
You didn't. You're saying it as if you didn't do
I
it.
am.
Or
Yeah.
it's
No.
not
Yeah.
epic?
I mean, I did it, and it was epic. I might have. Maybe
You're
I was
just brushing
prepared.
it off. You're like, no big deal.
Maybe I was prepared. I don't know.
Um,
I agree to
Well,
things
because I feel
that
like, maybe some people are like I told them about this adventure. I even wrote a little blog post last night, and there's a video coming out on the Run Steep right now. It's uploading, I think.
Oh, I know about
it's about a 19-minute episode, I think, all about a what I'm calling the Mount Lemmon Sky Island Traverse, which is something that I did with a friend this weekend. So it was a 35-mile run with 10,000 feet of climb near Tucson, and turned into like more of an epic than I thought it would be.
Yeah.
And it's a trail. I had never gone up the Samaniago Ridge Trail, but I would not recommend it for most people, like for pretty much anyone.
There was a lot of. I mean, I heard little snippets of this tale, and as I understand it, you did a lot of route finding, and a lot of bushwhacking, and possibly just tons of scrambling, and maybe kind of not knowing where the trail was.
Yeah,
Ish.
that's all. And then running low / out of water, having to ration water. So kind of
For a while though, and you guys were out for.
Well, I mean, I took my last sip, and then I got more water within not very much time, like 15 minutes. But I was like, I would go like 45 minutes without any drink, and then I would just take one little sip and swish it in my mouth and try it. Like, I was really spreading out the last bit. I had to give some to my friend towards the end too, because he had less than I did by the time we got up there. So, when
you got up there, like the supply of water that you did find, wasn't expected. Yes, no.
Yeah, I mean, so let's back it up a little bit.
Let's do it. Let's tell the story.
So I think it's important to think about,
Yeah.
For me, I'm experienced, which is good and bad. It means I've done a lot of things before, but that can also be a false sense of security, thinking I can get through anything.
Yeah.
Which isn't true, obviously. But also, I am equipped with skills and experiences that can help me when maybe someone who doesn't have any of those maybe is less prepared or can't cope with the situation.
Yeah.
Because at some point, you just might you get into one of these situations not thinking, and then you have to get through. So things we did right, obviously, is we did have on my phone, I had GPS routes of the map and everything, and I kept it in airplane mode so it wasn't going to die. So we knew where we were. I didn't carry a physical map. I guess I could have dropped my phone and broken it, and that who knows. But for the most part, I think we still would have been able to get up there. We got on one trail and we were on it, but it did do some weird things, and it was really overgrown. So we didn't know the current conditions of the trail. That's one thing. But it was hard to gauge that because we didn't know really, we hadn't really heard of any runners that had done this before. We heard of some mountain bikers that did it, so we figured, well, we should be able to get through. We saw a couple mountain bikers out there, which was crazy. But it was just, we start going and it's okay, it's overgrown. So, which is just kind of annoying, and it does slow you down. You can't just run up this trail. You're kind of fighting your way through, and it scratches you up and it kind of hurts. Then there was this one section where, and we were following it on the phone app. You have to go right around this head wall cliff. So there's a cliff. You have to go kind of down a little, and then you take an easier path because it's literally just a vertical wall, and it just drops off on the other side. So we had to go around this thing, but it was so overgrown that we were just pushing our way through. And even when we got back on trail, it was just more of the same, and we'd kind of follow little rock cairns here and there, but it wasn't really obvious. The area had burned a number of years back, and I think I read online after our run that it hadn't even opened back up until 2011. I carried almost a gallon of water with me at the start, and then my friend had, I think, 3 liters, which is a lot more than I would normally start with for most runs. Anyways, like normally I'd carry maybe a couple bottles, but I knew it was going to be probably a long day. Like it might take us, 8 hours or 9 hours. I don't know what I fully had in mind. But I knew there was water at the top. Like there's a town up there, Summer Haven, which has like restaurants and stuff, or a couple, like one restaurant basically. But I knew there was water up there. But that was 20 miles into the run. Okay. And then I was thinking as we were going up, I'm like, oh, well, there's probably water at the top of the mountain because there's a road all the way, a paved road to the top. Like a service road? There's like communications towers. There's an observatory with the University of Arizona. There's trailheads. There's this one ski area there, which even the ski lift was running. So like once we got up there, we could have definitely gotten water from people, like just said, like if we were in absolute dire straits, like, hey, we are like dying here, like do you have anything to spare? We didn't end up needing to do that. We found at the very top near the communications towers these jugs, Arizona iced tea jugs, but they had water in them. Someone had just cached water, but it must have been sitting there a while because it was funky tasting. It just tasted like chlorine or something. Maybe it was treated or just plastic had leached into it. We drank just enough of that to get us over the hump, and a mile down the trail we hit a spring and just like loaded up. Nice. And then like a mile and a half later we were in town and we kind of got everything. But it's like something that I think, it's just a good thing to think about. Like make sure you know where you're going. You have maps. You have hopefully a communications device. Like we didn't need to call out for rescue, but we probably could have. We had service. Trying to find out the conditions of the trail area you're going ahead of time is always good. Knowing where the potential water sources are. We saw up near the top, there was like a lot of ferns, and we were thinking it was really green, and we're thinking, oh man, maybe there's a creek flowing, but I'm sure there was probably a month ago, but they had all dried up by now. And it was a much hotter day up high than we thought. I think the high in Phoenix that day is 108, but we started at 3,000 feet, which is quite a bit higher. It was maybe 80 degrees when we started our run. But then we didn't get as much of a breeze up on the ridge as we were hoping, and then the temperatures were just, even up at 7,000 feet, it was like you could feel the heat of the sun like really beating down on us. So, I think it was just kind of a good lesson. We were able to get refueled up at the top of the mountain in Summer Haven, which was awesome. Like drank sodas and a meal and got more. We filled up all my water again. And I think because I was a bit dehydrated, I drank a whole nother gallon on the descent, which it took us 8 hours to get up and 3 hours to get down, or 3.5 to get down.
Different route? Like is it point to point, or did you do like a loop? It was a point to point. Okay.
So we didn't have to go back down that crazy stuff. The way down was much more well maintained. It was the Arizona Trail, so there wasn't really bushwhacking at all. Okay. But it wasn't like the easiest running down a mountain I've ever done. It was still pretty technical. There was still 1,200 feet of climb, even though it was 4,000 feet of descent. So I don't know, just some, I think something to reflect upon. I don't know if you guys watching can relate to that, but it just, definitely reminded me that like you're not invincible. We were never in really dire straits, but we were like uncomfortable to the point where like a sip of water seemed like I was really, really happy when I got to the spring for one, but also just, it made me appreciate water a lot more. Like I could go right there and get I could drink a gallon right now if I wanted to. But it's kind of crazy when you're out there. It just makes you appreciate things a lot more. I mean, but overall, it was just a great experience. Like I love doing things like that where you're kind of suffering and putting yourself in a difficult circumstance, because just every day, I go to the office or whatever I'm doing, like it's not that epic of an experience. I think that's what I think a lot of us look for in the sport.
Yeah.
You know,
Kind
whether
of a
it's a
true
race
adventure,
or an
yeah.
FKT or just a journey run or adventure run. I mean, like we do our day-to-day training runs, but then I think it's important to do something that takes you outside of your comfort zone,
Yeah.
while still being smart about it. You know, like not
Be-
putting yourself in a
Be
crazy
prepared.
condition.
Know
So
a little bit about
I don't know.
the
Do you guys
route.
have any
Yeah.
experiences like that? Feel free to comment, or if you want to tell me I'm an idiot, feel free to comment below.
Did you kind of anticipate that it would take? What, you were out there for 12 hours?
It was
yeah?
almost 12. No way. We were I mean, not that I sat down and was like, I think this will take me this. It's just based upon like a 35-mile run with a lot of climbing. I was thinking 8 to 9. I don't know. Is like maybe looking back on it, like what I thought. I was thinking, I don't know, maybe 5 up and 3 down. Because I felt like down 2, we could just cruise, like zip down and like just, just hightail it. So definitely longer than expected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you experience anything like that on like your Cactus to Clouds, or were you guys just so prepared?
No,
that
we
it was
weren't
no
prepared.
issue?
I mean, well, that's the thing. Like, I think I got a text from Haley like 2 days before we did this, and I was like, "Hey, are we gonna go to Flagstaff to go hike?" She goes, "No, we've decided to do Cactus to Clouds and then a 50K the next day." I was like, "Sure, yeah, let's do that." I had no idea until like the day before. I Googled Cactus to Clouds. You had told me about it a little bit.
She didn't really know what you were getting into.
Not a clue. And like the first thing that comes up is like it's extremely it's like 20 miles ish, very steep, very exposed, no water access whatsoever, a strenuous hike, possibility of death, whatever. And I was like, what did you get me into? I had no idea. So we go. I packed like my water pack and everything, but I had no nutrition. And so we had to actually stop and like go grocery shopping because Christina and I both, like, we were not prepared.
You didn't set out on the trail before, but you just had to hit, on the way, drive out. You had to hit
on the
up
drive out. We're like, oh yeah, by the way, I have no nutrition. Yeah. I have like maybe a goo or something in my pack. Oh, whatever. So we had to stop and get nutrition, fill up my pack. But on the way up, I mean, I anticipated actually being out there for like 12 to 15 hours because that's what the website said, like, be prepared 12 to 15 hours. And, it was exposed, but we started early enough. Like, there was enough bad, like, juju on the internet that it scared us into preparation.
You, yeah. And you started at 3 in the morning.
We started at 3 in the morning.
That's really good.
Like, super early. It was really cool. And by the time we hit the tree line and, like, we're like kind of shaded by the pine trees, that's when it started getting hot. So we didn't really feel the heat. And then we were up at elevation, and then we still didn't feel the heat because it was nice and cool. So
nice.
I mean, I think we really lucked out as far as like the time of year. There was snow, but nothing was icy. I had read that some of the trails were really. Did you guys
pull from streams or anything for water, or did you just have enough with you?
We had enough with us, and then we refilled at like the tram station.
Okay.
So by the time we got up there, I think I had only like even had maybe half my pack was gone.
Yeah. That's important. Like if you're not exposed to as much of that heat, that's what really got us. I think looking back on it is like, the first like couple hours or like hour and a half we were all right, even though we were low down because we had just gotten started. I think I drank 1 bottle. I was like, oh, I still have 5. And then as soon as we started up the steep part, there's no wind anymore, and it just like hit us quick. And it was like I was just downing bottle after bottle.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, this is going quick. And then all of a sudden you're like, then we got lost, and you spend 30 minutes bushwhacking around, screwing around, and it's like.
Were there no markings, like no cairns, nothing?
There was some cairns, but it was just kind of so densely vegetated, and then you would think you were on, and then all of a sudden you're like, you kind of lose the trail.
Yeah.
So like you could go back, or you're like, well, I think it's like if I looked at my phone, I could see where we were, where the trail was. Yeah. It's like, oh, it's just right over there. Let's just cut
over.
across.
Yeah.
But then you're cutting across like all this cat's claw and like vegetation that's like you're moving like a tortoise through this stuff. So
and you're getting cut up on the way.
Yeah, you're getting kind of torn up. So, that's it's just interesting to think about, I think. And like, if we would have started earlier, we probably would have avoided some of the heat. Like, we started at 8 in the morning, which, I mean, it starts to get light late. By 4:30, you know? Like, we could have started at 5 or something. But also the nice thing was that by the time we were descending off the mountain, the sun was setting and it was getting cool again. So if we would have started that early, when we finished the run back down in the desert, it would have been like, 95 then. So it was a trade-off. I don't know what's better, but we seem to be okay by the end of the day with our fluids and our hydration. So I got a popsicle at the end. Bonus. Circle K. Oh yeah, we're gonna do. Let's do JubeTube.
Yeah, if you guys have similar experiences, type them in. Let us know, or ask questions.
Yeah. Or if you have questions about anything having to do with running in the heat or planning an adventure run of any sort, we've definitely got some experiences that we could shed some light on for you.
Yes.
So the game we're playing today is called Beat Shazam, and that's a phone app, I believe.
Right. So Enzo, you're gonna play the song, but you're only gonna play the amount of song that it took Shazam to, so we only get a few seconds to basically. Okay.
Okay.
So we've got the artist. We just have to name the song.
Okay. I don't think I know the name of any
He's like,
songs.
oh gosh, you got this.
Ready?
Yes.
The Way You Make Me Feel.
Yeah. The way you make me feel. Oh, this is gonna be good. You have to sing the rest of the song if you.
No, you don't.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's not the game.
Sure.
It's not a karaoke game.
Could be. Ready, go.
Say my name.
Oh, for crying out loud. Know a little Destiny's Child, do you? Oh, I got go on.
Boulevard of Broken Dreams.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Buddy Holly? No, it's not.
Beverly Hills.
Yeah. Damn. Love song?
Love song? Tied. Maybe.
I want a new tour bus full of old guitars. I'm star on night.
Rockstar?
Feel Good Incorporated?
I don't know. Dare? I don't know. Okay. Did not know.
Didn't even know that's who sang that song.
Fall on me?
Everybody Hurts?
Wow. You're not good at this game. Go on.
King of the
I'm
Road?
gonna be.
Nice.
Okay. You guys should try this at home. Try to beat Shazam. I'm not good at this
Okay,
game.
question
Clearly.
time. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Any suggestions for following Western States online later this month? Roger Overall. I Run Far on Twitter and Western States website. I'm sure they'll have a link to the live tracking. That would be the best way to follow the race. Brian Champ, stoked for Big Pine. It's going to be fun. So we have a race this weekend. Blackout Night runs Friday, Big Pine, Flagstaff Extreme Big Pine.
Yep.
Trail runs Saturday at Fort Tuthill. There's a Made in the Shade beer festival going on this weekend. There's camping. There's a ropes course up there.
Yes.
All
of the things.
It's going to be awesome.
We have, great.
I think, 570 people running between the two events.
Two
the
events.
Night and the day. Some are doubling up. There's like
Yeah.
50 people doing the double. They're doing one distance at night, one in the next day.
Awesome.
I hope to do it as well.
You're going to do both? Are you going to double down?
If I can fit it in, I'm going to try and double down.
Very
I want to do the
exciting.
longest ones of both of them.
Really?
I want to, but I don't know. We'll see.
Very exciting.
50 miles in like 12 hours.
I'll be out there. I'll be blowing bubbles and things.
Jared Davis, what is your go-to nutrition in races? How much do you eat at aid stations? How much do you eat while running? Go-to nutrition. I feel like I haven't run in a while. This weekend, I hardly ate anything. I ate like 1 bar and 2 gels on the way up. Maybe 3 gels the whole way, like for 8 hours.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah.
That's not
So
a
it was
lot.
just burning fat.
Yeah.
I like to use a variety of things. I've talked about this a little bit before. Some gels, some chews, like the Stinger chews. I like those. Sometimes different bars, like Cliff Bars and things. Potato chips, potatoes, mashed potatoes.
You do the potato burritos,
It's
like
good.
the mashed potato burritos.
I've been doing soda sometimes too. Like sometimes that's good.
I like the
How much do you
Creamolitas.
eat at aid stations versus how much do you eat while running? It depends on the race. If it's a shorter race, I tend to eat more like out on the trail and less at aid stations. But if it's a longer race, sometimes I'll eat like more of a substantial amount at an aid station and then just try and bridge the gap between the longer.
Like mini meals at each aid station.
Like a decent meal.
Yeah.
And then like try and go 15, 20 miles and then maybe just eat one gel in between or something.
Yeah.
Spearcator, how do you recover from a big race? How do you get back to running at full strength again? It depends on the distance. It depends on the effort. I've done, let's just say the 100-mile distance because that's a big race in my opinion. Maybe even a 50-mile, let's say, if you're just getting into the sport, those would be similar in nature. If you run it easy and it's conversational pace and you've done a lot of training and you're feeling good, I can recover very quickly, like within a few days, and I can be out training again. I did that with the Hurt 100 a couple years ago. I used it as a training race to get ready for Barkley, and I was literally, I think by Tuesday, I was out doing like hard runs again because I kind of jogged it. I took a nap during the race, took it easy. But if it's a really hard effort or a really big race, I mean, it could take weeks or months to feel better, honestly.
So I've been experiencing this thing, and I don't like. Haley says it's pretty normal, and like other people have told me it's pretty normal. But my immune system goes down after longer races. So after every like 30-mile race that I've done in the last couple of months, I get a cold, like a hardcore cold. Don't know what's going on. That's like a normal thing.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a nutritionist, or a doctor, but I think that's common.
Yeah.
It's quite common. Yeah, I don't know that I've experienced that, but I think it's quite common. If you guys have had that happen,
That's like
please let us know.
Like my body feels good, like recovery is good, but like I end up with colds.
Yeah. It's probably good to get extra sleep, extra nutrition, like good stuff.
Yeah.
Before and after you do some big effort, because they'll take a lot out of you. It doesn't just take it out of your legs, but it can take it out of your whole body.
Yeah.
So. Xthenic, hi Jam and Jubes. Favorite Flagstaff hikes that is not Eldon, Humphreys, or Kendrick? I was gonna say one of those three. Dang, dude. Weatherford Trail up to like Doyle Saddle is pretty awesome. Sunset Trail across the Dry Lake Hills, Little Bear, I think. It used to be one of my favorites, but it burned. What else is good up there?
I do a lot of Lockett Meadow.
Is that the Inner Basin? I haven't done much there.
That's the Inner and then you go from but I do like Lockett Meadow to Humphreys, which I'm doing this weekend.
Kim Aspat, I enjoy these runs far more than races. I don't get that stress of trying to hold my position or trying to catch people. Cool. Just talking about the adventure runs we're talking about. Thank you for chiming in. Roger, overall, what feature would you like Strava to add to their app? I think it would be fun to see a better way of finding segments, I think. Maybe even a better curation of segments, because I feel like sometimes there's like random segments you don't even know where they are, or like the map that they have, like it doesn't display it in a good way that makes sense. Like it'd be nice to be able to just find where segments are easier. Spearcater, Jamila would fit in the lineup of an 80s group. Nickelback for the loss.
Agreed.
Marathon 07, we hiked Grand Canyon South Rim to North Rim this weekend and had to emergency camp at Cottonwood at the bottom because one of our groups started vomiting. Couldn't keep liquids in. Be safe this summer. Yeah. That is a thing that you have to be very careful of becoming nauseous in the heat when you're low on water, because you lose everything. And if you don't have a source of water, it can really, it can be deadly. Also, thanks for the 2 new races at Mogollon. It's a dream race, but I don't think I could qualify to complete the 100. You guys rock. Wow, you found that quick.
We did that today. Like
we've been talking about this for a while.
Hour
but
ago.
We added we just added a couple shorter distances to the Mogollon Monster. Try and get some more people out there that weekend and get acquainted
experience those trails.
Get acquainted with the race.
Yeah.
Because there's just it's a big jump to go from wherever you are to like a hard rock qualifier.
Yeah.
Like 100 miles in the crazy mountains like that.
Yeah.
So we wanted to introduce a couple distances that are more attainable. So we have 105K that we're adding, which is almost the same course. It just cuts out the second cabin loop up top. So it's kind of like run up and over the rim along the Highline Trail, 1 cabin loop, and then run back up and over the rim 1 more time. It should be awesome. And then we're doing on Sunday a 35K, which goes from Pine Trailhead up and over the rim to Geronimo, and then back up and over into finish in Pine.
Yeah.
So a couple options, and the 105K will be a qualifier for next year's Mogollon Monster 100 miler. That's a qualifying. We want to make sure people are ready for that one because it's no joke. Kim Spat, did you run states in a snow year? If so, grippy shoes or waterproof for snow section? I did. 2010 was a snow route. I didn't have anything special. I think I wore my Mizuno Mushas, a marathon road flat. So I was slipping around a bit in the mud or in the snow for sure. But I think if you're pretty sure-footed and used to running on snow, you'll be fine. If it's something that you're more concerned about, maybe put some yak tracks or micro spikes in your pack and throw them on for those few miles. But we'll kind of have to see what the conditions are going to be like. You can always ditch them later in your drop bag. Mitchell Mac 2, do you all get injured? What are the worst injuries you've ever dealt with? Absolutely. I've had lots of injuries. No broken bones, knock on wood, yet. I don't know why I say yet, but it's going to happen. I don't know.
Dislocated fingers?
Dislocated finger, but that didn't stop me from running.
No.
In fact, I ran right after I got it.
Yeah.
Really had no choice. Right now, I'm dealing with some foot pain, like top of inside of my foot, just sore. I think I tweaked it a few times on the Western States weekend, so it didn't bother me that much this weekend, but then after running 10 miles on Monday, it was a little more sore, so I took yesterday off. I'm going to run just easy tonight. I'm going to run easy tomorrow, and then hopefully it'll feel better, and I can do, like, crazy amount of miles Friday through Sunday.
Nice.
And then maybe it'll be sore again next week, and we'll repeat the cycle. Hopefully it doesn't turn into a stress fracture. What about you? Any injuries? You had plantar fasciitis. Is that of going away?
It's back and forth. But I'm maintaining. And then like bad shin splints, like when I first started.
I think my worst ever was a foot neuroma, which is like right in between.
Yeah.
And I actually think it's still kind of there. Sometimes
people have told me
sometimes my foot will hurt
terrible.
a little, but then it kind of goes away. But it's not fun. It's just like every step is like it's that nerve, and it's terrible.
Joel Rodriguez says, any trail running group around 4th of July weekend? Thanks.
I don't know what day of the week it is, but I know I'll be in Colorado.
I'll be in Colorado
but our
as well.
running group will be running every Wednesday through the whole summer, so there's definitely that.
There's a calendar up, and then I'll post the events coming up for the rest of the summer. Andre Lee, for new trail runners, what's a good timetable for recovery for a 50K, 50 mile, 100 mile?
Again, it just depends a lot of different factors. I would say, take a couple days off minimum, especially if you're jumping up and doing your first 50K, 50 mile, 100 mile. Like, give yourself a couple weeks of easy running or no running just to feel good again. And like you said, your immune system's probably going to be compromised some. There's a lot of times delayed onset muscle soreness that can come in. Like, I've sometimes even felt good a day after a race, like the soreness kind of goes away and you feel good. And then it just like a week later, I feel horrible. So I think someone in our Aravaipa group run just asked if they're doing their first hundreds the middle of September. I guess it could be bogey on if they just ran Zane Grey.
Yeah.
But they were thinking about doing 100 2 weeks before their first 100. So basically their first 100-mile race followed by another 100-mile race 2 weeks later. And I was just like, not a good idea. I cannot recommend that. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how you're going to adapt to it. And just don't set yourself up for failure, you know? Do the one, focus on it if that's your goal. Give yourself plenty of time to recover.
Cool. Flavio Fernandez says, how many 100-mile races would you run in a good year, and how many would you feel in a high performance?
I mean, for me personally, I don't like to do like a high quantity of ultra marathons in 1 year. I know there's some people that are doing them every weekend, or they do a ton of them. The most I've ever done is about 4 in 1 year, but typically it's 1 or 2. I think that's a better balance. So I've done maybe 17 or something in my career.
In a year?
No, total.
Oh, okay.
1,700-mile races in like 12 and a half years of running ultras. So
okay.
Probably 1.5 per year is my average over my lifetime. I don't know. I don't know that I have a desire to do more than that in any given year.
Yeah. Cool.
And ultras in general, I think I usually do about 6 races, but then like I'll run 30 miles or more several other times throughout the year.
Yeah.
But just randomly. We were talking a lot about our video filming projects this summer last week. So DRTIS better. What will you do when you see Walmsley take a wrong turn right in front of you?
Oh gosh.
Well, I mean, number one, I don't think that's going to happen. But number two, if I'm filming the race, I'm a fly on the wall, really. Like, I'm not supposed to be affecting the race in any way. Whether or not I would tell him if he went off course, I don't know. I guess that would be one for the rule books. But I'm not allowed to pace runners when I'm out there running with people. I'm just literally not allowed to give them aid or anything. So I might have to just film what's going on and what plays out, Randy Cafaro, I would love to go to Western, but where to stay? Oh, I don't know why I'm reading that one. Question for Trail Talk. Question on GPS watches. Currently using the Garmin 220, which only has a battery life of 6 hours and no charging capabilities while recording GPS. Looking to upgrade to a watch that would be able to hang for a 100-mile race. Which would be better, the Garmin Phoenix or Suunto Spartan, or something else that allows charging? And if you use something else, what do you use to charge your watch while you're in a race? Whew. I personally use this watch. This is the Suunto Ambit 3 Peak, and I've run a 41-hour race with this watch and recorded the whole thing. I did have to plug it in, a little charging cable to a little portable battery charger, USB. It just plugged in. I put it in my pack. I grabbed it after 15 hours. I think this is rated for a 20-hour life. So after 15 hours, I plugged it in. Maybe 45 minutes to an hour, it was fully charged. I did that again at like the 30-some-odd hour mark, and it got me through the end. So, and I could probably perpetually do that. Just keep charging it up.
Awesome.
I don't have experience lately with Garmin watches, but I'm assuming that the newer ones, you can probably do that, charge on the fly. And I haven't tried the Suunto Spartan yet, but hopefully I can get my hands on one of those some point soon and give that one a try. Got another question. Marisol last week asked in the comments of the YouTube channel. I have a question for your next episode. Any suggestions on what to eat in a 50-miler, especially after mile 35 when my body doesn't want gels anymore? LOL. I mean, solid foods is my answer, and savory foods and salty foods. I think gels can get you so far, but you're right. I think all the sugar it can get to you sometimes. Some people do fine with it. But especially if you're running, if you're like 8 hours into your run at that point, it might be mealtime, like lunchtime. So have a sandwich or a peanut butter sandwich, or maybe some boiled potatoes and chips and pickles. I don't know.
Nicole Tran says takes
hummus and
potatoes and salt.
Hummus and tortilla. rice balls. That's really good too. Like something that is a little more plain, so it doesn't give you that sugar spike, I think is good. Or some soup. Soup's always a good thing too.
I like
Pasta.
the creamolitas. Like I can eat those all
Like the little cookies.
with the whole race.
I think it's good to just have options in general and
sure.
to mix it up. Okay, that's all we got. Anything else on Facebook, or are we gonna?
I think Underley says thanks, Jam and Jubes.
Cool. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Yes.
If you have questions and you're not able to tune in live with us each week, either on Instagram or Facebook, feel free to comment below in the YouTube video, and we'll try and answer them in line, and we'll also bring it back up on next week's show.
Or tweet at us.
You can also tweet us, Happy Jubilee.
At Jamil Curry.
And you can tweet the show at Aravaipa Running as well. Thanks for tuning in, guys. If you're not subscribed yet, be sure to do so. We also put out some other running videos now and again. So
Yep.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.